Hey guys, Pastor Todd here. I have had so much fun reading with you in the Jesus Storybook Bible. This has been such a great experience. I hope you've enjoyed all the stories that we've read. We've read so many. Today is day 17, and it's going to be our last one that we read for right now. It's a really exciting story. It is about a man named Saul, and as I mentioned before, God gives him a new name. And this story is going to tell us about his journey and how he met Jesus. Now, when we meet Jesus, Jesus changes everything. And if you are curious about meeting Jesus and how he changes us after we meet him, keep asking good questions. And feel free to send me a question or ask your parents a question or a leader that you trust at church. I'd love to get emails or hear from you guys in any way that you can. So reach out. Well, our story today is on page 334. And the title of it is A New Way to See. And we can find this story in the Bible. It's the story of Saul, and God gives him a new name, changes his name to Paul, which we'll hear about. And in the Bible, we can see this story in Acts chapters 6 through 9, 12 through 28, Colossians, Romans, and Ephesians. Of all the people who kept the rules, Saul was the best. I'm good at being good, he'd tell you. He was very proud and very good. But he wasn't very nice. Saul hated anyone who loved Jesus. He traveled around looking for them. He wanted to catch them and put them in prison. He wanted everyone to forget all about Jesus. He didn't believe Jesus was the rescuer. And he didn't believe Jesus was alive either. You see, Saul had never met Jesus. So, one day, Jesus met Saul. Saul was on his way to Damascus when suddenly a dazzling light flashed like lightning. It was brighter than the sun. It was too bright. Saul shielded his eyes and fell to the ground. He heard a loud voice. It was too loud. It gave Saul a headache. "Saul, Saul," said the loud voice, "why are you fighting me?" "Lord," Saul answered, "who are you?" "I am Jesus," said the voice. "When you hurt my friends, you are hurting me too." Saul's whole body trembled. "Go to the city," Jesus said. "I'll tell you what to do." When Saul opened his eyes, he couldn't see. His helpers had to hold his hand and lead him like a little child. Saul was blind for 3 whole days. And yet it was as if he was seeing for the very first time. Meanwhile, there was a man named Ananias who loved Jesus. Jesus came to him in a dream. "Go to Saul and pray for him, and I will make him see again." Ananias knew all about Saul and how he hated Jesus' followers. "Lord, he has come to hurt us." But Jesus told Ananias, "Saul is the one I've chosen to tell the whole world who I am." So Ananias went to Saul. "Brother Saul," Ananias said, "it was Jesus you met on the road." And Ananias prayed for Saul. Suddenly, Saul could see again, but he saw everything differently. He wasn't mean to anymore. He had even changed his name from Saul to Paul, which means small and humble, the very opposite of proud. And do you know what Ananias' name means? The Lord is full of grace. Grace is just another word for gift which is funny because that's just what Paul's message was all about from then on. It's not about keeping rules, Paul told people. You don't have to be good at being good for God to love you. You just have to believe what Jesus has done and follow him. Because it's not about trying, it's about trusting. It's not about rules, it's about grace. God's free gift that cost him everything. What had happened to Paul? He met Jesus. Paul got a new job. He called himself a servant and traveled everywhere telling everyone about Jesus. He got shipwrecked 3 times. He even ended up in prison. God loves us, he wrote from prison. Nothing can ever, no, not ever, separate us from the never stopping, never giving up, unbreaking, always and forever love of God he showed us in Jesus. And so it was, just as God promised Abraham that dark night all those years before. The family of God's children grew and grew until one day they would come to number more than even all the stars in the sky. My favorite part, my very favorite part of this story is found on this last page, when it says that Saul went around telling people that they didn't have to be good at being good for God to love us, for God to love them. And that's the exact same message that I read when I read all of the letters that Paul wrote. And those letters make up the New Testament, make up the Bible. Books like Ephesians and Colossians. There's so many in the New Testament. Those were letters that Paul wrote telling people all about the grace that God gives us through Jesus. Now, if you have any questions about that, let me know. You can email me or have your parents reach out and we can chat about it. I have had so much fun reading in the Jesus Storybook Bible with you guys. And I look forward to our next adventure. See you later.